Welcome to beautiful Sydney, Australia, a city that sits in a class of its own. However, it is plagued by a significant issue: its roads are overflowing with cars. In fact, as many as 50,000 new cars are added to the city's roads every year, with no signs that this trend is about to change. Existing operational metro services have not significantly contributed to reducing traffic issues in Sydney, but that is all about to change. A colossal new transport project is underway. Sydney is building one of the largest suburban rail projects in the world, a $64 billion behemoth designed to completely transform the city's transport system. With 113 kilometers of new metro lines to be added, 46 new stations, and driverless trains, one might wonder if Sydney has bitten off more than it can chew with this megaproject. Sydney is a fascinating city with a rich history and vibrant culture. Known as Harbour City, it is the capital of the state of New South Wales. It covers a total land area of more than 12,000 square kilometers and is the most populous city in Australia, housing about a quarter of the entire country's population. Sydney is renowned for its tourist destinations and is a delightful place to visit. However, one major downside is its traffic congestion, especially during rush hour. The city sees around 320,000 cars on its roads at any given moment, which is quite high. This traffic congestion is one of the reasons why the government has invested billions and is continuing to invest more in expanding its metro system. Despite these efforts, many Sydney residents still face a challenging daily commute, particularly those living or working in the busiest areas and suburbs. To address this problem and reduce the city's CO2 footprint, the New South Wales government is implementing the Sydney Metro program, the biggest public transport project in Australia, expected to cost upwards of $65 billion. These futuristic metro lines, fully automated and the first of their kind in Australia, will increase Sydney's rail capacity by up to 60% by the end of 2026, with even more improvements by 2030. Let's delve into the details of the Sydney Metro project, including the amazing machines used to build it. Tunnel boring machines, TBMs, are the colossal mechanical monsters employed to carve out the tunnels beneath the bustling city. These TBMs act like giant earthworms, capable of chewing through even the hardest rocks deep below the surface. To deploy these machines, giant shafts are excavated, allowing various parts of a TBM to be lowered into position below the ground at the specified depth. Sophisticated tools and equipment are then used to assemble the TBMs. Once assembled, a TBM resembles a giant earthworm, but with a cutting head that grinds through rocks and soil. The debris and soil are collected by the machine itself and sent via conveyor belts to the surface, where it can be used to make concrete rings for the tunnel walls. These concrete ring segments are then shipped back to the TBM, which places them in position, forming a concrete tube that represents the future tunnel. As many as 16 TBMs are used in the construction of Sydney Metro, operating between 30 and 60 meters below the city, far from building foundations and underground infrastructure. Some TBMs can be up to 120 meters long and weigh as much as 1,000 tons. The main body of a TBM comprises a cutting head, tunnel field, and trailing gear. Different cutting heads are used depending on the geology. For instance, hard rock TBMs use disc cutters to grind through rocks up to 6 times stronger than concrete. Soft ground TBMs, such as slurry shield TBMs, are used when the soil is granular with high water pressure, like below the Sydney Harbour. In 2019, the first TBM broke through the new massive Victoria Cross Station cavern, which is 265 meters long, 25 meters wide, and 20 meters high, located 31 meters below the surface of North Sydney's business district. This breakthrough connected the giant station to the operational Sydney Metro Northwest Line. The infrastructure of Sydney Metro is complex and involves multidisciplinary engineering systems, including earthworks, tunnels, steelwork, and a track system forming the railway base. Let's start with the operational $8.3 billion Sydney Metro Northwest Line, the first stage of Sydney Metro that became operational in 2019. It features 36 kilometers of track between Chatswood and Rouse Hill, single-deck trains with about 50% more hourly capacity than double-deck carriages, 15 kilometers of tunnels, 13 stops including 8 new stations, 4,000 commuter parking spaces, a train stabling facility, a 4-kilometer SkyTrain viaduct, and 4 kilometers of bridges. The next metro line, almost complete, is the $21 billion Sydney Metro City and Southwest. This line extends metro services from where Sydney Metro Northwest ends in Chatswood to Bankstown in southwest Sydney. It features 17 kilometers of twin tunnel and 7 new stations. For the works from Sydenham to Bankstown, it includes upgrading 13 kilometers of rail line, converting 11 stations between Sydenham and Bankstown, and upgrading 15 bridges. Following this is the $25.3 billion Sydney Metro West, scheduled to be ready by 2030. It will deliver approximately 24 kilometers of underground metro railway, connecting Parramatta to Sydney Central Business District CBD. This line will complement the existing T1 Western Rail line between Sydney CBD and Parramatta and will involve 9 new stations and upgrades to existing ones. A new metro station will be constructed in Hunter Street, one of the 9 new stations for Sydney Metro West. The Sydney Olympic Park Metro Station will be located south of the existing Olympic Park Station, with tunnelling involving 2 components: tunnelling west from Westmead to the Bays Precinct and tunnelling east from the Bays Precinct to Sydney CBDD. The construction will use hard rock TBMs for 11 kilometers of twin tunnels between Sydney Olympic Park and the future station in the Bays Precinct. Over 70,000 concrete segments will be used to line the twin tunnels, and access shafts will be established at Burwood North and the Bays. The next line is the $1 billion Western Sydney Airport line, expected to be operational by the end of 2026. This new metro line will run from St. Mary's Station on the existing T1 heavy rail line to the Western Sydney Aerotropolis near Bringelly via Western Sydney Airport. It will involve constructing 2 sections of twin tunnels between St. Mary's and Orchard Hills stations and between the Western Sydney Airport Terminal and Aerotropolis stations. The tunnels will have a total combined length of 9.8 kilometers, including associated portal dive structures. Works will also include a 3.5-kilometer elevated viaduct between Orchard Hills and Luddenham, 6.7 kilometers of earthworks, a 190-meter bridge over the new M12 motorway, and a 20-meter bridge within the airport, along with temporary and permanent access routes. Are you from Sydney, Australia? Did we miss something? Please let us know your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on this incredible project transforming one of the world's most iconic cities.